the next function is, we'll start with exact, whatever, we'll start with exact. You have a function called exact. Exact, so I'm taking a new column. So here it is going to verify whether the two strings are exactly same or not. So it is going to be case sensitive. So whenever you are evaluating two values, if those two values are correct or not, like here we are analyzing or evaluating two values with respect to case. I am giving like two values. I am giving here some x, y, z, whatever the column names we used to provide generally. Okay, so as part of the contents, however you are provided a column name and a value. So as part of our tables, we are going to provide two column names, or a string, a predefined string with a predefined string with a column name we are going to give. So anyways, we are going to give two different values. If those two values are same, it is going to return a true, otherwise it is going to return a false. So here, as those two are same, that's why it is returned a value called true. So it is like, as it is considered a case sensitive, so those two cases are different, that's why it is returned a false. These will be used to evaluate on a runtime to verify for a value. Okay, you can pass one value as one column, or variable you can pass another column, so that whenever you want to evaluate the two values with respect to case, at that time we are going to use the exact function. This will be used as part of any other filter category or anywhere, but the evaluation is like whenever you want the cases also to be evaluated at a properly. So if you want to check the cases also, at the time you can use that exact. And the next one is the find function. Find, substitute, replace, almost all are similar. So sorry, find. So here the find function, it returns the starting position of one text string within another string. Find is a case sensitive. So here it is going to verify the string that you provided in the main string. If it is there, it is going to return the starting position. If it is not there, it is not going to return anything. Okay, -1 it is going to return. So find what here? I want to find text is nothing but SCA. Okay, and capital SCA I want to verify, and within a text called employee name, and start position from where you want to start, that is an optional thing. So as part of the function, if you see that brackets, that is an optional thing. Even if you are not provide anything, it will not fail. If it is not if it is not found, what value you want to give? I want to give -1. Okay, click on it. It is returning everything is a -1. Why? Because the find is a case sensitive function, which is going to give whether it is going to verify whether capital SA is there or not. Capital SA is not there, that's why it returned a -1. And if you specify small SA, it is giving that bus in a first position you have Santosh, Sam. In the both the places we have that one. It is giving. If it is not available, -1 we are representing. So find is kind of a search function, which is going to verify whether the specified string is there or not in the main string. If it is there, it is going to return the index. The char index find of a kind of a function here, but it is a case sensitive. And the next function is find. Let's search. The next one is search function. Search, it is saying that returns the starting position of one text string within another text string. Search is not a case sensitive. The same concept like a previous thing, but here it is a case insensitive. Now look for same capital SA and employee name and close it. One second. The search text provided in the function could not be found. One second. So we verified capital SA in a main string called employee name, and capital SA is not there, which is returning my. You can verify that I am verifying for a capital SA, and here capital SA is not there anywhere, but a small SA is there, Sam and a Santosh. In these two places it returned a 1 because the starting position is a 1, and remaining places it is returning a -1 because as the text is not there, I am raising a flag -1. So even though the cases are different, it was able to find. One second. Even though the cases are different, it was able to find a value. So search is a case insensitive, which is going to verify a string in the main string, and it is going to return the starting position of a string or index. You can say index starts from 1, and the find is a case sensitive. The difference between them is both are same. Find is a case sensitive, search is a case insensitive. And next one is substitute. Substitute, replace and repeat. Really follow this order. The next one is substitute. The find and search are similar to one category. The substitute and replace are similar to one category. The substitute here new column substitute, it is going to replace an existing text with a new text in a text string. So what it is going to do is it will verify a specific text. It will verify a specific text. If it is there, that will be replaced with the new text. Okay. So here I want to replace in an employee name. I want to look for that same SA. I want to replace with that one with some XY whatever. Okay. So next, one second. What was the issue here? Fine. So we'll take Anil sir. So let's run. One second. Okay. So it is going to replace the existing text with a new text. Like we are going to give in a main string. We are going to replace. See, a replace functionality is of two types. One is verifying, like replacing a specific text with a new text. That might be any number of length of characters. So we are going to verify this one, and we are going to replace that one with another one. That is one kind of replace. Another one is irrespective of the value, based on the position we are going to replace. From a third position to fifth position, we are going to replace another value. There are two types of replaces will be there like this. One is based on the text, based on the position. Now this is based on the text. So here the substitute so the text is the main string only. Let me check once again. The main string only, and the old text. So as someone requested, I am checking Anil. So I just want to replace with some other string. You can see that it was replaced. The Anil was replaced with XYZ. That is cool, but like why I got stopped previously is why it was not replaced that SA. Okay, capital SA I provided, that's why it was not selected. Fine. So SA I want to replace with XYZ. You can see that XYZ SA was replaced with XYZ. So previously I tried with the capital SA. I feel that's why it was not replaced. Fine. So the substitute function is going to search for a specific string in a main string. If it is there, it is going to replace with a new string whatever you provided. That is what happened. SCI is verified. If it is there, it was replaced with a XYZ. And the next one is, that was substitute. Next one is replace. Replace new column, replace So here we are going to replace a string based on the indexing. The old text. What is the old text is nothing but that employee name. Here the starting position 1, the number of characters is 3 characters. I want to replace with a some xyz. So here I am not going to consider what text I am replacing. Irrespective of that, based on a starting position for all the columns, first 2, 3 positions we are going to replace with xyz. So you can see that the first 2, 3 characters was removed and xyz were placed. It can be 3 to 3, 3 to 3, it can be 5 to 3 also. From a first character to 5 characters I am removing and I am replacing with xyz. You can see that the first 5 characters were removed and only xyz was came, and remaining all are less than 5, so that's why everything is xyz. Santosh, the first 5 are removed with xyz and sh. Here also first 5 are removed xyz h. So this replace function is going to replace n number of characters with a specific string. That is need not to be again n number of characters. That can be one character also. That can be one character also. So that is what replace. And the next one is, I hope you understood. As I said, substitute and replace are similar. Like substitute is going to find the exact string and replace with another string, and replace is going to replace n number of characters. And find and search, these two are same. One is case sensitive, another one is case insensitive. Next one is repeat. If you want to repeat a string for n number of times, you have a repeat function is there. So repeat. If you want to repeat a string for n number of times, we can use the repeat function. And similarly, you have a trim function is there. Sometimes your data will contain spaces, tailing or leading spaces it will contain. At the time it removes all the spaces, it will keep only one space. If it is between a string, it is going to keep only one space. If it is leading or ending spaces, that will be removed completely. So removes all the spaces from a text string except for a single spaces between a words. Okay, so here what we'll do is we'll create a measure. Mm, four spaces I provided. Then after 1 2 3 4 2, so I created one measure with a static string. I am representing that measure. So you cannot so I will do one thing. I will export this one in my desktop. It's a data file. Replace it. That. I'm opening that file. So you can see that as part of my text, you are able to see some space here, lot of spaces here. Now let's apply a trim there. Here I am performing a trim, and now I am exporting the data and verify what data it is going to come. Or open with notepad. You can see that there is no spaces in the beginning, and you have only one space between the values. The trim is going to remove all the spaces, all the leading and tailing spaces, and between the spaces, between the words, it is going to remove all the spaces by keeping only one space. So trim will trim the spaces between the value or leading or tailing values. That is what the trim functionality. And the next one is replace, repeat, trim, and the next one is mid function and a value function. So value function, as I already conveyed, it is going to, if a value is in the form of a text, that will be considered as a value. Okay, so here the next one is mid function. So it is going to return, a string based on the requirement that you mentioned. So returns a string of characters from the middle of a text string, starting position of a length, like so. It is kind of a substring function which is going to return a string from a main string. I am saying that from employee name, from a second position, I require 3 positions. So it is returning RIN or NIL from the position that you mentioned. From a third position, I require 2 characters. So here, third position, IN, RIL, IL, EM. So from third position, and number of characters it is going to return. So which is nothing but in-string kind of a functionality. Like sorry, it's a substring kind of a functionality. It is going to return a string based on the index that is specified. That is what the mid function is. And the next one is mid function was done, and the next one is a value function. So converts the text string that represents a number to a number. So sometimes number will be in the form of a textual column. At that time, on a fly, if you want to convert the value which is available in a text, which is a number, but the data type was text, that if you want to consider it as a number, we are going to use a value function. The same concept for time value and date value also, and that was fine. And finally, there is a function called a fixed. So rounds a number to the specified number of decimals and returns the result as a text in optional commas. So it is going to give one second. Okay, fine. So it is going to round a number into a specific number of decimals. So here, and the return type is text. So here, let's go to the another table. Fixed. Here, fixed of latitude. Latitude. Number of decimals, 2 decimals I want to represent. So it was calculated, the latitude it was calculated and returned like 2 numbers it was rounded, and you can see that what is the data type, that is a textual data type. Okay, so that is what this fixed function, like it is going to return the value in the form of a text, and it is going to round the decimal number into a number of digits, and it is going to represent as part of a text. So that is what the functionality of it. So these are the functions which are available under the category of string functions or textual functions. So in this session we are done with that exact, find, search, substitute, replace, repeat, trim, mid, the value, and fixed. Okay, the day before yesterday we are done up to like length, left, upper, right, upper, lower, right, left, blank, code, unicare. These functions we covered. This is about a textual categories of functions. Anyone has any questions up to here on whatever we discussed? Anyone has any questions?
Srinivas, I have one doubt.
Yes, sir.
Exactly, it's related to that, but not related to this function.
So, do you have any questions on this one?
That's what related to DAX functions only.
Mm-hmm.
What is this evaluation context? Normally, context in DAX. If you
So
if you can explain later, that is also fine.
that is going to cover as part of filter functions.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay.
we are going to bypass the context. So sometimes whenever you are selecting a drop down as part of your window, like as part of your Power BI report, if you don't want to filter something, so far what you know is edit interactions, you know. But with respect to DAX calculations, whenever you select a drop down, at the time that should not filter, filter a measure. At the time we are going to consider row context. Sometimes at the time of generating a rank, one second. So sometimes whenever you are calculating a rank or anything, we need to consider all the values. We are going to generate a rank based on the entire column, not based on the specific value. As we know that, like whenever you are calculating, the measures will be calculated at that level. So if I consider only this level and this value, the rank is 1. Always rank is 1. But whenever I am calculating the rank, I need to consider all the values. And then after I need to generate a rank for this row. So what I need to consider at the time, boss, whenever I am calculating this method, I want to calculate all the values. I need to consider all the values we need to say. Otherwise, whenever I am performing evaluation here, it will consider only this value. In this context, the only one appearance will be there, only rank will be 1. So there are mainly two types of bypassing will be there at a Power BI level or at a DAX level. So that can be done with the help of a DAX, with the help of a all function. What is the need of a all function? Or the other functions also there, which are category of filter functions. That is what we used to call it as a context. Okay, so that context will be discussed as part of a filter functions. At the time of filtering, sometimes we'll ignore the values, sometimes we'll not ignore the values, and where you need to ignore, where you not, where there are two different places where you can ignore the values. How you can able to accomplish that one is going to specified as part of filter functions. We are going to cover that one. Clear, Krishna? Most possibly, like tomorrow ending time or day after tomorrow starting time, we are going to cover those things.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone has any questions? If you don't have questions, mention no as part of a chat. If someone mentioned, that is fine. Krishna, fine. Karthik, if you have a question, go ahead. Karthik V.
Srinivas, what about you said mid function is work like a substring in DAX, right?
Substring, yes.
When we have instinct function is there. So what about if we want to use instinct?
See, what is the functionality of instinct? What is the return type of instinct? The instinct functionality is
Character.
i- see, there are two things are there. One is going to return the index.
Yes,
It is going to search and it is going to return the index.
that is
But
substring.
huh?
Yes, continue.
So there are two things are there. One is going to return an index. One is going to return a value. Okay. Here the mid is going to return a value, and above whatever we discussed, those are going to return an index. Okay. You can map these two functionalities with respect to your SQL server. One is that in-string or char index function. Okay, and the other one is the substring or whatever the function that is there. So mid is going to return a string, from a main string. The return type is a string here. The
Okay.
other things whatever we discussed here is which is going to return an index. It is going to search a main string with the substring, and it is going to return the index. If it is there, it is going to return the index.
Okay. Instead of char as a char index, whatever the out of these four functions will be used, will be work like a char index, right?
Yes, yes,
So based on our requirement, we can use one of these.
yes. Based on your requirement, you can use it. Yeah.
Can you explain value function and trim function? I didn't understand.
So trim function, if as part of your value, as part of your column, if you have a space, if you are having an empty space as part of your value, whenever you are searching for a specific string, it will not evaluate, right? So it will not match. So at that time, what we used to do is we need to remove the spaces. So for removing the spaces, we have a function called a trim, which is going to remove the spaces which are leading or tailing, which are starting or ending spaces. Complete space it will be removed. Between the values, if there is a like more than one space is there, that will remove that space, the trim function. And value function, sometimes you have a number will be there, but which is available in the form of a text. The return type is it, the data type is a text. So at that time, in order to say that, like in order to convert the number which is available in the text to a number, we are going to use a value function. So that is what the value functionality. The value which is available in a textual format, but which is a number. At the time, in order to consider it as a number, we are going to use a value function. and a trim is going to remove the spaces. Clear, Karthik? Clear?
Yeah, whenever we want to return in number format into textual format, we use value function, right?
No. So the number is, if the number is already in textual format,
Okay.
if the number is already in textual format, then there is a number which is where the data type is a text. Okay. So
Okay.
that one, if you want to consider it as a number, we are going to use a value function.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Satish, any questions? Your mic is working or not? First of all, not ask after the class. Okay, fine. So that is, those are the textual category of functions. Then after, we have another category which is statistical function. Statistical functions, and the next one is statistical functions and time intelligence functions and filter functions. These are the main categories that we have. Today and tomorrow, like, we'll cover the statistical and filter functions. There are some related functions are there. Like in statistical, I need to use a filter. In a filter, I need to use a statistical. So these two things will be covered most probably tomorrow much time, and we are going to complete these two things, and then after time intelligence we are going to have a separate session. So these are the things that we are going to cover, and there are some hierarchical functions are there, that parent and child, so we'll see that one also. So the next category is statistical. Here there are a lot of functions are there. Those are average, average a, average x, and similarly so here similarly average, and similarly the min 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 a, min x, and similarly you have max a, max x, and you have sum x, and you have count a, count x, count ax, and and count blank, count rows, and distinct count. distinct count, and cross join, and generate all data table, and then after rank top, summarize selected columns. These are the functions that we have. There is a function called row also. So these are the functions which are under the category of statistical functions, and these are more than sufficient. Now we'll discuss about the sum x or x functions. We'll see. I'm looking for something. Okay, so I already in edit queries. Now the transaction ID, book ID, city name, unit price, and quantity. Close and apply. Now you can the sales data here. This is the data that we have, and now I want to understand the requirement, so that you will understand 8 functions immediately. I have transaction ID. For each transaction I have a transaction ID, the book name, city name, state name, unit price, and a quantity. And transaction date. Here what I require is I require the sales amount for each transaction. How do you get a sales amount? You will get unit price into quantity. You are going to get the sales amount, right? That unit, like for this transaction, how much money that I got it? 125 into 3 or 150 into 2. So if you calculate another column, new column, and here I will mention that the unit price into quantity. So here it is giving that the sales amount. Now if I calculate the sum on top of this column, that is going to give the overall sales amount. So there I will use, like here from this column I will mention it as a sales amount, and here I can analyze something like what is this overall sales amount, what is the average sales amount, or what is the minimum sales amount, what is the maximum sales amount. I can calculate with the help of a measure. But so you can calculate, like let me create a couple of things. If I want to create a new measure out of this sales amount column, I just want to calculate m underscore min. I am specifying it's a minimum of the sales amount. Similarly, New measure. Maximum of the sales amount. And similarly, the sum of sales amount. I created three methods, that is more than sufficient. And so if I represent the sum, min, max, what is saying that the overall the sales amount is 71,300, in that the minimum value is 150 and the maximum value is 1000. So for one transaction we have got a value as 150 and another one you have a maximum as 1000. The overall is this one. So in order to bring this one, what you done? You created a column, intermediate column you created. On top of it, you create a measure. But without creating this one, can we calculate this one or not? These measures can be calculated or not? Yes, we can calculate with the help of x functions, which is nothing but sum x. The sum x, what it is going to do is it evaluates an expression. Sum x returns the sum of an expression evaluated each row in a table. In the sum x function, I am saying that boss, it's a sales data table. In the sales data table, you need to calculate this expression. What is that expression? Is quantity into the unit price. So for each record, it will evaluate this expression, and at the end it is going to sum up. So I am not using the column which is all intermediately created, but I am going to get the value as this one. Okay, so now verify it. So I am creating a measure 2. If I use that measure 2, that will get the same one as 71,300. I didn't use any intermediate column as part of that calculation. The sum x function or min x, max x, average x, what these x functions are going to do is those are going to calculate an expression. An expression that can be a single column, that can be multiple columns, whatever. So what it is going to do is for each row it is going to evaluate an expression. At the end it is going to evaluate sum x or min x or max, sum or min or max or average, whatever it is going to calculate. If someone asks you, boss, do you know DAX or not? Yes, I know. If they ask you the basic question, what is the difference between the min and min x? The min is going to take a minimum value from a single column. Min x, it is going to evaluate an expression for each row, and at the end it is going to return a minimum value on top of the value which calculated based on expression. So you don't require an intermediate column here. So when you are going to use a columns concept is as part of a numeric measures like this, whenever you want to calculate the intermediate calculations, at that time you can use the columns. I used to say, like at the time of DAX, for for textual date time columns we used to use columns. For numeric columns also we'll use whenever you are performing intermediate calculations. So this is an intermediate calculation. On top of it we are going to again create measures and everything, but here if you don't want to use sum x or min x, you can evaluate as third party or intermediate column. On top of it again you can calculate. Instead of calculating this one, we are going to use sum x, min x, max x, average x. All those x functions are related to that one. Clear? Or any questions? The same concept. The same concept for average, average x, min, min x, max x, sum x, count x. Count we'll discuss. Any questions up to here? That is what I told you, man. So difference between the sum and sum x. So sum is going to calculate sum of a column, like out of all the values, it is going to calculate the sum. Okay, sum means sum x is nothing but whenever you need to get a sum based on expression which is coming from a two columns. At that time, what it is going to do is it is going to evaluate the expression for each row. It is going to evaluate that expression at each row, and whatever the value that you are going to get, that will be sum for all the rows, and it is going to return. X means expression you can consider. Okay, sum means it is going to take only one column, it is going to return the sum of that column. But expression, whenever you mention, it might be two columns, or it might be some like multiplication or something with this column also, that can be considered. So it is going to evaluate an expression at each and every row. It can be one column, it can be multiple columns expression. Each row it is going to evaluate the expression, it is going to return the data. That is what x function. The sum and sum x, see, like a measure will perform a group by. Okay, I will not say that sum only will perform a group by. So a group by functionality can be achieved, or whenever you use DAX measure, at whatever the level that you are seeing, at that level it will perform a group by. Okay, specifically sum and sum x will perform a group by means I cannot understand that one, but DAX, all the measures will perform a group by at whatever the level that you are observing. At that level it is going to display the data. So you can consider all the functions will perform a group by. Krishnaveni, go ahead with your question. Fine. Okay. So that is what the x functions. Okay. So okay, fine. So average, average x, min x, max x, sum x, and the next one is count. So fine. So I'm stopping here. We'll continue here from here in the next session. So as it is. See, like whenever if you are good at a DAX, we can go ahead with the text functions and all. And in order to understand the others, the new people, you can use that intermediate columns. And here there is nothing. Out of these two things, there is nothing called performance. Like if you are, as I said, if you can calculate that one without intermediate column, you are going to save the memory. Okay, so here as it is a cloud based application, memory usage also very important. So if I am using like sum x function, min x function, or max x function, which I am going to get that value based on x without using intermediate column, you can save the memory. If you have a 10 lakh records, you are going to save a 10 lakh rows. So the x functions, like you don't require any staging, you don't require any intermediate thing, you can directly get the value. And with respect to performance other than storage, so the performance impact with a measure will be available only at the time of creation. Once you created, that automatically for every 50 minutes it is going to perform a cache, it is going to get it. We used to call it as a service, but people will not use a self-service, right? So only at the time of developing or at the time of first time load at a client window in a client browser, that might take a bit time to load the things. Thereafter, as the cache is already there, so it will not like take much time. So always you can go ahead with some x functions only. So that's it for now. We'll continue from here in the next session. We'll close we'll close all the remaining
Small dot, another small dot.
go ahead.
Normally, for calculated columns, it will occupy some space, right? And it will store in data model.
Hmm.
So for measures, where it will store, either in cache or where it will store, like exactly I'm trying to understand.
First of all, it will not store the value, and the second thing is it will store as part of a cache, and it will update the values in the dashboard. Okay, so for every 15 minutes or by default for every 1 hour, once you deploy your report, if it is a live connection, what is Power BI is used to do is, so for every 1 hour it is going to update the dashboard automatically. So the measure, why? Because in a dashboard level there will not be change in the data. Whatever the group by that you have, whatever the group by that you have, that is a fixed group by in a dashboard level. In a report level, there can be a different level. If I click on a city column, automatically the complete report will be grouped by based on city. If I select a book name at the time at a different level, there are different levels of granularities will be there based on the interaction that need to calculate. So there, that will directly come the data from a database, and at a dashboard level, those are the fixed values where there is no interaction. Those are fixed values. Even if you change some filter in a report, that will not affect the dashboard. So as the dashboard is fixed, what it is used to do is, for every 1 hour or 15 minutes, it is going to refresh the dashboard tiles. But measure will not store any data for the sake of dashboard. For the sake of dashboard, it will refresh for every 15 minutes or for every 1 hour, and it will update the data. So that is what the actual picture.
So nothing but it will store in cache itself.
It will store in cache itself, like it will not store anywhere.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. How much data is there? That much space it will occupy. So no, we'll discuss that one later. Like it will not occupy that much space, and there are many things are there in between that compression and all those things. So no need to worry at all regarding that one. Okay. So that's it for now. And there are two things are there. One is yesterday I updated the drive based on series numbers. I cannot, like, I evaluated 3 or 4 times and I given. Okay, so I feel like one video might be missed, and but like just validate, like whoever practicing, just to go through it and let me know if I miss any other things. Meanwhile, I will do another round of evaluation today, and I will finalize that videos. But I feel it might be one, a maximum of 2 videos might miss. So I will, but as part of WebEx, it is like it is not giving a proper date format. It is a bit difficult, but anyways, I will re-evaluate and I will lock that videos, and I will confirm you people. That is one thing, and the other thing is, as I conveyed to other people regarding some assignment, not only this batch, the other batch. So what I told them is, like, let me stop the recording.